A stranger handed me a note in college. It said, "Meet me in the lounge." I didn't know him. He wouldn't say who sent it. I walked away. A few days later, a girl was attacked in the exact spot. I still wonder what would have happened if I'd gone. I'm an 18-year-old kid in culinary school. This happened back in 2009. Our program has an underground parking lot attached to a lounge of our own, located behind the cafeteria. Couples liked going there because it was always empty and partially dark. I hated it because it had a back door leading to the parking lot that was barely lit up. Barely anyone parked there, and so I found it creepy. Plus, being a horror fan, I knew that was the perfect opportunity for things to go wrong. Long story short, I came out of class one day and this kid I don't know starts walking up to me, almost confrontational-like. I have my knife set with me and pull out a handle, readying to defend myself. He stops and hands me a paper. It reads, "Meet me in the lounge." I look at him in confusion and ask who sent him the note. Was it my boyfriend? Someone in the culinary program? Maybe a friend from high school? He shakes his head and says he doesn't know, but I should go. I question him on what this person looks like, and he refuses to give me any information. I chuckle nervously, put the note in my pocket, and walk past the kid to head to class. But he starts following me, asking if I'm going to go. I try ignoring him, heading toward the library to get into a public place. He follows. He tries telling me I should go, that it's my destiny or some crap along those lines. I glare at him and pick up the pace, trying to head downstairs to the cafeteria in hopes of finding a classmate and losing the kid. He runs at the same pace, telling me he doesn't understand why I'm not going. I tell him, "Because I don't want to, now go away." And I head into the cafeteria. By now, he's really creeping me out. I grab for my phone to call the police, but instead, I see a classmate and run toward him. The kid follows me, pointing toward where the lounge is and telling me I'm going the wrong way. I instantly panic and tell my classmate what's going on. He approaches the kid and tells him to leave me alone, that I have a boyfriend and I'm not interested. The kid tells me, "They're waiting for you in the lounge, don't take too long." His words just give me chills. My classmate walks me to our student restaurant and asks for some others to come with us. 3 of my colleagues come with us to the lounge. There's no one there, and I get freaked out and decide I need to go home. They walk me through the campus to the parking lot, where I call my parents to get a ride. One of the others stays with me, while the classmate who defended me goes to report the behavior to our teachers, who use the lounge as secondary offices sometimes. He comes back to tell me they're going to investigate and keep an eye out for suspicious activity, or that kid. A few days later, I learned that a girl had been assaulted in that area. She had parked there during finals and gone in through the lounge. The school paper had reported it, but there were no details as to who did it to her or if they were caught. I literally felt my stomach drop, hoping that the girl was okay and hoping that those people get caught. I reported my incident to the newspaper team, but they claimed she never dealt with anything like a note. They never found the suspect. My mom's glad I listened to my gut and didn't go. To this day, I still get chills thinking about it. The girl recovered. She got jumped but had no money, so they just left her, I guess, and escaped with a few minor injuries. They never caught the attackers, and I never saw this strange kid again. All I can think of is, why me? If they were going for money, I was so poor I literally lived off sesame crackers donated by my classmates because I had no money. I'm just glad that the girl is okay and that I listened to my gut. Who knows what would have happened if I had gone. Remember the early days of the web? AOL software upgrades came in the mail on CD-ROMs. Family members shouted across the house if a phone call interrupted the painful 10-minute process of signing in to hear, "You've got mail." Chain emails warned us about serial killers hiding in showers and cursed us with 7 years of bad luck if we didn't forward them to 7 friends. Better not to risk it, we thought, as we scrambled to type out 7 email addresses. Finding everything about someone online, something anyone can do today with a few keystrokes, was a lot harder back then. But not for Corey. I was 15 years old. Back then, ambiguous and quirky usernames like Pina Colada 33 or Brunette Baby 87 were the norm. Social media was barely a thing. Zanga was the place to vent your teenage angst. AIM wasn't even standalone yet. It was MSN Messenger or bust. But if you had a true AOL account like I did, you had access to a brave new world. Your own inbox, a personal profile page, endless public chat rooms. It was exhilarating until it was terrifying. One afternoon, I joined a random chat room. ASL? 16 female Boston. The usual chaos of strangers. I didn't say anything, just watched. Eventually, I got bored and left without typing a word. An instant message popped up. You didn't say anything. Why not? Who is this? I typed back, confused by the username. I'm Corey. I'm 16, 8th grade, Lake Charles, Louisiana. What about you? 16 and in 8th grade? Yikes. Still, I was curious. So, you get held back twice or what? I joked. And that's how it started. We chatted for a bit. He shared a photo. Freckled face, brown hair. Nothing I'd rate over a 5 on hot or not. I still never gave him personal details, not even what city I lived in. My profile photo showed me with 3 other girls. You couldn't even tell which one was me. Safe enough, I thought. Then, a few days later, he messaged me again. You're beautiful. What? Brunettes with green eyes, man, he wrote. Despite the group photo, he picked me out. I'd love to see you sometime, he said. Felt my skin crawl. I logged off. The next Friday, I was at a sleepover at my best friend's house. We were logged in, browsing cute guys on Hot or Not. Who's messaging you? My friend asked. I already knew. It was Corey. Hey, you live in Houston. Your parents are James and Sarah Miller. You live at 1655 South Grand. Name and address changed, of course. That roller coaster drop feeling hit me. My heart shot into my throat. We scrambled to block him. AOL had a feature for that, thankfully. But it didn't stop there. The next day, another account messaged me. Same style, slightly different screen name. Blocked. Then another. And another. 5 times. Finally, I disappeared. Logged off, stayed offline. I missed the thrill of a new message, but I didn't miss him. A few weeks later, I came home from school. My little sister was still a baby, and we had a nanny who stayed with her during the day. She handed me the phone. It's for you, she said, puzzled. Some boy with a southern accent. Sounds like East Texas or Louisiana. Oh God. Hello? I said nervously. Hey, pretty thing. It's Corey. My friends and I love Jackass. We're thinking of coming to Houston next week to pull some pranks. How funny would it be if we surprised you at your front door? I faked a laugh, said something about a quiz, hung up. That night, I put a knife under my mattress. For weeks, I was terrified I'd wake up and see Corey outside my window. How did he get my number? But just like that, it stopped. No calls, no messages, no Corey. I started to breathe again. The knife went back in the drawer. 2 months passed. Then summer started, and the phone rang. Hi, said a voice. Who is this? I asked. It's me, Corey. But this time, it wasn't a teenage voice. This one was different, cold, older, no accent. It was a grown man. I'm sorry I haven't been able to talk to you, he blurted out. The police came, they took my computers. I can't say why, but don't worry, I'll come to Houston soon. That was the day I deleted everything. The username, the profile, the account, gone. I told my parents. I felt humiliated, like I'd done something wrong. But I hadn't even shared my last name. There were no selfies, no location tags. I was basically a ghost. But he found me anyway. He was determined. I'm just glad that, even at 15, I had the instincts to back away when things felt off. Because Corey, was never a kid. He was a predator. And 2 decades later, I still wonder where he ended up. Hopefully behind bars. Quick pause. Have you ever felt like someone was watching you? If you've had a stalker experience or a close call you'll never forget, I want to hear your story. Share it in the comments or email it to MrLiminalStories@gmail.com. You just might hear it in the next video. Stay aware, stay safe. I worked as a flight attendant for a few years when I decided to take an extended sabbatical from college. There were a handful of let's not meet situations I encountered, but one in particular still makes my skin crawl more than any other. I was born and raised in Texas, but moved to New York when I was 21. So, when I found out at the beginning of a week-long trip that I'd have a couple of overnights in Austin, I was super excited to spend a few days back in my home state. My brother lived just north of the city, and we planned to hang out and get dinner the night I arrived. The next day, we were going to meet up with our dad, who lived about an hour away. So I get to the hotel downtown, the crew and I check in, and then we each head off to our rooms. It was a short elevator ride. I get to mine, and not even 5 minutes later, there's a loud, hard knock at the door. It was only around 1 or 2 p.m., and I hadn't called either my dad or brother to let them know I was in town yet. So no one would know what room I was in. I figured maybe it was one of my crewmates, so I headed toward the door. Before I even got to it, a loud male voice from the other side boomed. "The front desk sent me about the bathroom problem you called in." Then I heard the doorknob turning. "Unlock the door and open up, miss. I need in now." I froze. I hadn't been in the bathroom yet, let alone reported a problem. I'm a petite woman, and while I don't take disrespect from anyone, I still try to be cautious. I slowly edged toward the door to look out the peephole. All I could tell was that the man outside was at least 6 feet tall and easily over double my weight. No way was I opening that door. I called out to him, saying he must have the wrong room, but he kept pounding, jiggling the handle, insisting he needed to come in, that he was getting into the room one way or another. Now I was in full panic mode. Thankfully, I had the presence of mind to grab the room phone and call the front desk. The concierge confirmed 2 things. Number 1, no one had been sent to my room. 2, they had received no calls about a bathroom issue. Meanwhile, this guy was still trying to force his way in, pounding, shouting, and trying the handle. The front desk immediately dispatched hotel security to my floor. Seconds later, I heard the elevator ding, and then voices in the hallway. Security officers approached him and asked who he was and what he was doing. They told him to leave immediately. He became hostile and aggressive. The front desk clerk I was still on the phone with told me they had already contacted the police. I was still trapped in my room, honestly, terrified. Long story short, the police showed up fast and were able to arrest the man for trespassing and criminal menacing. Later, I learned something that completely shook me. The man was wanted in connection to a series of break-ins and violent assaults in Austin. He had followed me from the moment I walked into the hotel lobby. According to authorities, I matched exactly the kind of person he tended to target. Nothing else happened after that night, but it rattled me for the rest of my stay. And honestly, it still does to this day. At the time, I was 16, a girl attending my very first college quarter. Everything was going smoothly. I was making friends, adjusting well, until about halfway through the semester. That's when one of my classmates, a 26-year-old man, approached me. He asked to exchange numbers and suggested we go out on a date. I politely declined, telling him I wasn't interested, especially because of the age gap. I tried to make myself clear, but he insisted on giving me his number anyway. I kept saying no, but then he reached out, took my phone out of my hand, and added himself as a contact. That startled me, but it only got worse. The very next day, during our regular 10-minute break, I was talking with friends when he came up mid-conversation and asked me to go talk with him. I firmly said, "No, I'm in the middle of a conversation." He reacted by flipping me off and acting like I was the worst person in the world. He stormed off, kicked open the doors, and left. I went back into the classroom to stay close to the professor, just in case something else happened. A few minutes later, my friend texted me. "What did you say to him?" She said he was outside kicking a trash can and yelling at everyone who passed by. At that point, I was too scared to leave the classroom. I had no idea what he might do. Earlier that semester, I dealt with a different stalker and was already in contact with the school. I shared everything in my weekly counseling sessions, and now I told them about this classmate too. The school was aware of what was going on. He left me alone for a week or two, but then one day, I came into class and found a note on my desk. It asked if I loved him, if I wanted to marry him, if I'd have kids with him. He wasn't even in the room when I saw it. I quietly slipped the note into my backpack and ignored him for the rest of the lecture. I later gave it to my counselor, who agreed that this could be a real issue. I believe she contacted my professor to help keep an eye on things and make sure I was safe. After the note, there was only about a week left in the quarter, so jumping to the last day, it was an independent study day. We were working on our own. He showed up to class but somehow managed to get himself kicked out. I felt so relieved. I thought, that's it. That's the last time I'll ever see him. I knew I needed to finish my assignment quickly and make a run for my car. I was just one lecture away from finishing when he walked back in. He sat down at his desk like nothing had happened. That gut feeling hit me. I had to get out of there. I logged off my computer, thanked the professor, and packed up as fast as I could. I was speed walking to my car when I felt it. That eerie feeling that someone was staring at me. I turned around just to make sure it wasn't him. Unfortunately, it was. He was full on running at me. My first reaction was to call my mom. Just as our call connected, he grabbed my arm and pulled me to a stop. I yelled at him, told him to leave me alone, loud enough for anyone nearby to hear. I said, "I'm only 16. And he looked right at me and said, word for word, "Age doesn't matter. I know we're in love." I broke away and ran to my car as fast as I could. He was still on my heels. Thankfully, my car only unlocked the driver's side door because he tried to get in. From that day on, I've watched my surroundings carefully. I always make sure no one's following me. I always make sure no one's watching. I work at a male-dominated tech firm. Multinational, competitive, fast-paced. For the first few months, I kept to myself. I didn't even learn most of my coworkers' names. I used the language barrier as a shield, but honestly, I just don't like socializing at work, especially not with men. I go in to do my job, and then I go home. Since April, something has been escalating, and now it's following me outside of work. It started with a small talk. One guy said he wanted to practice English. I was polite, gave short answers. He asked simple questions like what food I liked. I said pancakes, burgers. A few days later, he came back and said another coworker wanted to take me to a pancake shop. I told him no. Then the second guy, the one he mentioned, started talking to me directly. He's only with the company for 6 months, but his role technically makes him my senior. He's tall, broad-shouldered, over a head taller than me. He moves slowly, watches before he speaks, and carries himself like he's always in control. Whenever he asked me to do something, he'd say, "See? Good girl." Then came the personal questions. Where do I eat? Who do I eat with? Do I eat alone or with a man? I gave vague answers. Eventually, I said I had a boyfriend just to make it stop. I don't. That's when he said, "If you really have a boyfriend, prove it. Call him now." I had no one to call. Then came the comments. "You're so tiny. You should sit with me. I could lift you like nothing." He always said it like it was a joke. Sorry, maybe that sounds different in Russian. Then came the worst moment so far. There are only 2 other women in our office. One afternoon, we were all nearby when he pointed at me and said, "This one's my favorite body type." Then he made a quick thrusting motion with his hips. Some of the men laughed, not nervously, just like it was a good joke. The woman? Silent. Then it escalated again. I was alone on the train platform after work. He walked up behind me and put his hand around my waist, low across my stomach. It wasn't an accident. It wasn't a brush. It was a hold. Then he leaned in and said, "See? So tiny." I was furious. "What the fuck? Don't ever touch me again." He smirked, shrugged, and walked away like it was nothing. 2 days later, I got a follow request on Instagram from him. My account is private. The username doesn't include my real name. It's a scrolling account with nothing in it. There's no way he should have found it. But somehow, he did. Then I started seeing him outside my dance studio, at the smoothie shop I go to, near the bus stop I use after class, more than once, multiple days a week. He doesn't say anything. He just stands outside, waves like we're friends, like this is normal. But here's the thing. My studio is 30 minutes from our office. No one at work even knows I dance. I've never posted about it, never mentioned it. It's not a place you just happen to be. And yet, there he is. Last Friday, I passed him near the side exit of the office. I didn't say a word. I just walked. And he said, "You can ignore me now, but we'll talk soon." He didn't wait for a reaction, just kept walking. But it gave me chills. What does that even mean? I haven't reported him. I'm scared I won't be taken seriously. But I've started documenting everything. Every comment, every encounter, every place he's shown up. I feel like it's all happening too fast. And I feel sick all the time. I don't know what to do. I just needed to say it somewhere.